Well, this is the first. So usually I'll go visit GameFAQs to read the back of the box for the game, but there's not a back of the box for this over there. So let's see if I can find. There we go. Oh no, that's not good. Let's try this one. Maybe? No. That one? That one. They're all the same except for that one. Weird. The only version that doesn't have a back of the box is the Super Nintendo version, which is the one we're looking at because this is 365 days of the Super Nintendo. But we're going to ignore all the crappy additional stuff for the crappy other versions, and I'll just read what is basically the condensed version. The War of the Magi left little but ashes and misery in its wake. Even magic itself had vanished from the world. Now 1,000 years later, humankind has remade the world through the power of iron, gunpowder, steam engines, and other machines and technologies. But there is one who possesses the lost power of magic, a young girl named Terra, whom the evil empire has kept enslaved in an effort to harness her power as a weapon. This leads to a fateful meeting between Terra and a young man named Locke. Their harrowing escape from the Empire's clutches sets in motion a series of events that touches countless lives and leads to one inevitable conclusion. This is Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo, or Final Fantasy VI if you want to go that way. We're not looking at 6, we're looking at 3 though, so why would you do that? This is, of course, Final Fantasy, of course by Squaresoft. And this is the 6th game in the series proper. It was the first to be directed by someone other than the producer and creator Hironobu Sakaguchi. It was filled instead by Yoshinori Kitase and Hiroyuki Ito. Yoshitaka Amano, longtime collaborator, returned as character designer and contributed widely to the visual concept design, while Nobuo Uematsu wrote the game's score. And there are several soundtrack albums that feature, if not this entire soundtrack, parts of it. Set in a world of technology with a level equivalent to that of the Second Industrial Revolution, the game's story follows an expanding cast that includes 14 permanent playable characters. The drama includes and extends past depicting a rebellion against an evil military dictatorship, pursuit of a magical arms race, the use of chemical weapons in warfare, depiction of violent apocalyptic confrontation with divinities, several personal redemption arcs, teen pregnancy, and a continuous renewal of hope in life itself. Was released to critical acclaim and is seen as a landmark title for the role-playing genre. For instance, ranked the second best RPG of all time by IGN in 2017. Its Super NES and PlayStation's versions have sold over 3.48 million copies worldwide to date as a standalone game, as well as over 750,000 as part of the Japanese Final Fantasy Collection and the North American Final Fantasy Anthology. I had that. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. It is incredibly slow. Final Fantasy VI has won numerous awards and is considered by many to be one of the greatest video games of all time. I'm probably in that group, but the game was known as Final Fantasy III in North America because we only had Final Fantasy I and II. Originally, the normal 2, 3, and 5 had not been released outside of Japan, leaving 4 as the second title and 6 as the third. However, most later localizations use the original title. We're not using a later localization, that's why we're using 3. My goodness, there is a lot here. Releases PlayStation, Nintendo consoles, mobile platforms, and PC. I've played a lot of different versions of this. No version stacks up to the Super Nintendo version. The PlayStation version is slow because of the disc load times. The Game Boy Advance version has subpar graphics and music. Unless it is a direct port that you can load like it's coming off a cartridge, it's not as good. The contemporary reception, there's a ton of information on this game, more than any other game I think we've ever looked at. Critical acclaim upon its release in Japan in mid-1994. Square's publicity department reported the game had sold 2.5 million copies in Japan. That's mid-1994. The game, according to this, was released in April of 1994, so just within a couple months. Where did we go? It was available both by itself and part of the Final Fantasy Collection, while in North America it was only available as the... Nah, it's the PlayStation. That's where am I? Here I am. The United States, it went on sale in the last quarter of 1994, became the year's 8th best-selling cartridge. Despite this, it was not a commercial success in that region, according to Sakaguchi. As of March 31st, 2003, the game had shipped 3.48 million copies worldwide, with 2.6 of them, being sold in Japan and 860,000 abroad. The collection sold over 400,000 copies in '99, making it the 31st best-selling game of the year in Japan, and Anthology had approximately 364,000 copies sold in North America. Final Fantasy VI Advance sold over 223,000 copies in Japan by the end of 2006, 1 month after its release. GamePro gave it 5 out of 5, stating that the characters, plot lines, and multiple choice scenarios all combined to form one fantastic game. EGM's 4 reviewers granted it a unanimous 9 out of 10 in their Game of the Month award, commenting that it set a new standard in excellence for RPGs. They praised the graphics, music, and the strong emotional involvement with the story. It won several awards from EGM in their 1994 Video Game Awards, including Best Role-Playing Game, Best Japanese Role-Playing Game, and Best Music for a cartridge-based game. Additionally, they ranked the game 9th in their 1997 list of the 100 greatest console games of all time. Famitsu gave it a 37 out of 40, making it one of their 2 highest rated games in 1994, along with Ridge Racer. Nintendo Power declared the game an RPG hit for the decade, noting its improved sound and graphics over its predecessors and its game's broadened thematic scope. Moreover, they suggested that with so much story and variation of play, fans may become lost in the world for months at a time. Nintendo Power also opined that the game plot was not particularly inventive, and the story is often sappy and not written for an American audience. In '97, Nintendo Power ranked it as the 8th greatest Nintendo game, saying it had everything you'd want: heroes, world-shattering events, magic, mindless evil, plus Interceptor the Wonder Dog. In 1996, Next Gen stated that the scene where Terra cares for a village of orphan children can perhaps be safely named as the series' finest hour. No other game series has tackled such big issues or reached such a level of emotional depth and complexity. And then they made Final Fantasy VII, and everybody said, oh, no, wait, don't do that. No, here's the thing. I bought this game upon release. I remember it was $69.95 before tax, and so when I hear people complaining about, PC games being 40, 50, 60 bucks, I don't care, because I paid 70 for this when it was brand new. And I have probably... The only reason I will have more playtime in hours of Final Fantasy VI than I will Final Fantasy IV is because 6 is a longer game. I have played 4 start to finish much more, but 6 is longer. It is really hard for me to pick and choose which one I like better. I do trend to 4 more than 6, because I feel the character builds are better. I really like all of the characters in 6. I really like playing with all the characters in 6. But that everybody can learn every spell ever, I think, is kind of game-breaking. And this is a problem I have with some of the later games as well. 7 and 8, anybody can do damn near anything. Same problem I had with 5. A little bit of the problem I had with 3. But 4 really just like, this is what you do and this is what you're good at. You cannot do anything else. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that they blended that stuff together in this game. I appreciate the updated graphics. I appreciate the music. I appreciate the story. And I have played this game so many millions and billions of times that, number one, there's a Let's Play of it. I've done 1 Let's Play of the game proper. And I did only innate magic when I did my Let's Play. Not everybody learned every spell ever. So if you couldn't learn magic at the beginning, you didn't have it at the end. That made the game more fun. Number 2, I Let's Played the ROM hack of this, Eternal Crystals, half a dozen times. Working with its creator, Metroid Quest, on a couple of the first playthroughs to get it to the completed version that exists now, of which I think you can still get a physical cartridge of. And, I have done a couple of playthroughs. There's only 1 recorded playthrough of me beating the game with the smallest party possible, which is a total of 3 people. So it would be fair to say I know this game inside and out.